This video is going to teach you how to harvest or craft yourself an insanely large amount of polymer. If you are a seasoned Ark player, stick around for the experiments because you might learn something new about polymer harvesting. Polymer is a resource in Ark that is required for many mid to late game items. There are two kinds of polymer in the game, what we call hard polymer, which is crafted, and then organic polymer, which is obtained from harvesting creatures. In this video, I'll specifically be focusing on the island map and the ways to get polymer for that. I'm going to start off by talking about organic polymer. This is the fastest to get, and when I need thousands of polymer, this is my preferred method. And for the purpose of this video, I've done a lot of experiments to find out the best way to harvest it. There are two creatures that drop organic polymer on these maps, and that is the Hesperornis and also the Kairuku, or the penguin. I would not recommend going out to purposely farm Hesperornis, but opportunistically, if you see them in your area, I would recommend killing them quickly to grab some polymer. They're usually located on the banks of rivers or lakes around the map, and when it comes to harvesting with my testing, I found that the club was the most efficient at getting polymer out of them. Kairuku, on the other hand, are plentiful across these maps, and if you want to get lots of polymer, I recommend heading to the snow biome to farm. Here is a few locations where you'll find some penguin colonies. Most of the colonies are located on the west side of the snow biome. Near this land bridge, you'll find one at the coordinates of 30.5 and 16.3. There's another small colony near these dead trees and a plateau located at 27.8 and 16.5. For the mother load of penguins, you'll need to start heading to the icebergs. This one located here at the edge of the map at 22.6 and 9.8. South from that, there's another iceberg with penguins and oil rocks, although this is a popular base spot. It's located at 30.5 and 11.5. There's a bunch more penguins at an iceberg further north located at 16.9 and 10.2. On the northmost iceberg, you'll find penguins up top, down below, and also around the back, and this iceberg is located at 11.8 and 10.7. There is also a lot of penguin colony locations across the north coast of the map. I will put these in the description if you're hungry for more polymer. When it comes to harvesting penguin with tools, just like the Hesperornis, the club is the best option. There is a trick when harvesting penguins though, is that the juvenile or baby penguins will actually give you more polymer than the adults. It's kind of cruel, but it's true. I'm setting up an experiment to see what is the most efficient way to farm polymer. So what I'm going to do is kill and harvest 5 adult penguins and 5 baby penguins with the same method. And what we're going to do is a vanilla club versus an Ascendant Club. We're also going to test if upping our player melee makes a difference to the amount that we harvest with a club. And then I'm going to compare that to the two creatures that also harvest polymer well, and that is the Moschops and the Pelagornis. And at the end, we're going to find out which is the winner for getting the most polymer for your efforts. So I found in my testing that harvesting a penguin gave different amounts each time, only slightly. So I thought the most fair way to compare them is to do 5 of each. So here we're killing 5 adult penguins and harvesting with the vanilla club. I did try this on single player, but it was a little bit buggy, so here I'm doing it on a server, and just note here that the server rates are 4 times harvesting, but the information should apply just as well to official servers. So let's get into the results. With a vanilla club and my standard melee, we got 304 organic polymer from 5 adult penguins. So I said earlier that the baby or the juveniles give a lot more polymer per harvest, and if we look here, we're using a vanilla club and we killed and harvested 5 juvenile or baby penguins, and in total we got 464 polymer, so quite a little bit more. What we want to know is if you use a higher tiered weapon like an Ascendant Club, how much more polymer does it give you? Well, let's find out. So killing and harvesting 5 adults with an Ascendant Club, we were able to get a total of 448 polymer, which is almost 150 more than with a vanilla club. And as we would predict, if we murder 5 baby penguins with an Ascendant Club, we get a lot more at 576 polymer total. So we know that an Ascendant Club will get you more polymer, but you may be like, great, where can I find one? Don't worry, I have you covered. I have consistently found either blueprints for Ascendant Clubs or high-level clubs in the loot crates in the artifact of the Hunter Cave. The coordinates for the entrance are located at 80.1 and 53.6. I recommend bringing a baryonyx or a saber into this cave to clear out the mobs, and then look for the loot crates here. It makes sense that a higher tiered weapon would give us more polymer, but what I want to know is what happens if we up our melee skill. So I'm going to take a mind wipe and reassign a huge amount of points into melee and a few into weight. So at the end, my character had 460 melee. With my new melee build, we repeated the same experiment, and with the increased melee, we were able to get a lot more polymer. So we got 448 in total. So around 150 more with increased melee. That is the exact same amount that we got when using the Ascendant Club. The increase in melee also helped us get more polymer from the juvenile penguins, and after harvesting 5 of them, we got a total of 488, and this is not as good as the juveniles with the Ascendant Club. But what happens when you mix an Ascendant Club with increased melee? Surely that would get you a huge amount more polymer. And after harvesting 5 baby penguins with an Ascendant Club and increased melee, the results are really interesting. In total, we got 544 organic polymer. This is around the same as using the Ascendant Club with a regular melee. In fact, it's a little bit less. And my only thought here is that there is some kind of level cap or ramp that prevents you from over harvesting resources. I'm not sure if this is true on official servers or if it's just this one, but I think you can really only max out on getting so much of a resource, even if your melee is up and even if you've maxed out the tool that you're using. In summary, the club is the best weapon to harvest polymer with. If you can get an Ascendant Club, that's even better. If you don't have one, you can up your melee to get more polymer, but leveling up your melee will not help you if you're using a high damage club. There are 2 creatures in Ark that have special polymer harvesting abilities, and that is the Pelagornis and the Moschops. Let's test these with the same parameters to see how good they are at harvesting polymer. First up, the Pelagornis. This was a 140 level tamed wild, and we have about 44 levels that we got from Cryo. I'm going to put them into weight and into melee. So just like the other tests, I killed and harvested 5 adults and then 5 babies. So with the adults killing 5 of them, we got a pretty disappointing 144 in total. So testing, killing and harvesting 5 baby penguins gave us quite a different result. When killing just 5 babies, we got a staggering 1,244 polymer. One of the other amazing abilities about the Pelagornis is its massive weight reduction for organic polymer. A 100 stack here is only 5 weight, when in my own personal inventory that would be 25, giving it an 80% reduction in polymer weight. Let's compare this to the other creature with a special organic polymer harvesting ability, and that is the Moschops. This was a wild level 140, and we're putting in about 51 levels into it. Again, mostly into weight and into melee. Moschops have additional harvesting levels, so if you hold down the radio wheel here, and you'll see view harvesting levels 51 available. There's a bunch of rarer resources, but one of these being organic polymer. We are going to put all of our 51 bonus harvesting levels into polymer, and you guessed it, we're going to do the same experiment, harvest 5 adults and then harvest 5 babies. Now the Moschops has different attacks for harvesting, and I'm going to use the kind of munch one. I also did the thing where I killed the penguin and had it harvest the body, but I didn't really notice a lot of difference in the harvesting. So with killing and munching on 5 adult penguins, we got 423 polymer, about the same as regular melee with an Ascendant Club. And just like every other test, we're going to kill 5 babies, and killing 5 babies and harvesting with the Moschops munch attack got us a total of 490 polymer. This is less than an Ascendant Club, so the Moschops is not as great as you think it is. It also does not have a weight reduction for polymer. Now, if using a Pelagornis to harvest wild babies is the best way to harvest polymer, I often get asked, well, why not just set up a farm of babies and have your Pelagornis harvest after killing them? But for some reason, if you use your own imprinted tamed babies, it does not work the same. You do not get the same yield that you do from wild babies. But let's test with 5 babies that we're going to hatch from eggs. Okay, we have some complications. We had some twins. We have imprinted 5 and we'll leave the rest behind. After killing the babies, I grabbed my Pelagornis to harvest the bodies. And we only got 144, so using a Pelagornis for your own polymer farm is definitely not as fruitful as using them on wild babies. The one drawback for using organic polymer is that it does expire. I typically harvest it right before I need it. I'm going to give you some bonus tips on how to store it so it lasts longer. And my tip is to tame yourself a snail. Snails are found in the swamp, and they're kind of a bit of a pain to tame because you do need to go out and make sweet veggie cakes, which are pretty resource intensive. Not only are the sweet veggie cakes the taming food, they're also the only food that the snail eats. After you have tamed up your snail, you set it to wander, and it will passively make achatina paste. Achatina paste is a natural alternative to cementing paste and can be used interchangeably. After they have finished making their full stack of achatina paste, what they'll actually do is they will passively generate organic polymer. This may not be a lot of polymer, but it may just be enough to repair a tool or make a base set of geely. Snails also have a seemingly insane weight stat for such a tiny creature. This low level one had 900 base weight, and for my high level leveled up snail, we have almost 2700 weight, which makes the snail a storing machine. Let's look at organic polymer spoil timers. In the grinder here, there is just under half an hour for this organic polymer to spoil one from the stack. When I put it into my own inventory, the spoil timer does not change. It's literally down to 29 minutes. You can't store polymer in the fridge, but you can put it in a preserving bin, but that doesn't change the spoil timer. However, let me put the polymer into a snail. Here the spoil timer is 38.55 seconds. Moving it over to the snail, it increases to 1 hour and 26 minutes. So it triples the amount of spoil time before we lose one from the stack. Not only can you put cool hat skins on a snail, this is what I use to store all of my organic polymer. In the last clip, you probably noticed I grabbed polymer from the grinder. If I need polymer in a quick pinch, what I actually do is get unwanted riot gear like primitive riot shields or primitive riot that you get from drops, pop it into the grinder, grind it all up, and you'll get yourself a fairly decent amount of organic polymer. And I've not forgotten about crafted polymer. You need to unlock the engram, and you can do that at level 48, and it will cost you 6 engram points. Crafted in the fabricator and requires cementing paste and obsidian. Both of these are quite labor intensive resources to get, but I'm going to show you how you can craft yourself thousands of polymer. The first thing you'll need is tons of cementing paste, and the best way to get that is to tame yourself a Beelzebufo or a frog and take it to the swamp cave, which is located at 62.6 and 37.2. The air inside the swamp cave is toxic, so you will need to equip yourself with a gas mask. You might be able to find one in a drop, otherwise you'll need to be level 85 to unlock the engram. If you don't have access to a gas mask yet, you can also use a set of scuba. If you wear 3 pieces of scuba in here, you won't take any damage from the poisonous gas. The one thing to remember is though that there are arthropleura in here, so if they do break your gear, you may start to take some damage. Frogs have the ability of turning bugs into paste, and as you can see here, there is no shortage of bugs. Frogs also do increase damage to the bugs, and you can see on the left hand side, we are harvesting paste at a really fast rate. There are some high level creatures here that are harder to kill with the frog, but watch your health and your stamina and then check your inventory, and you will see that you can literally get thousands of paste in a very short amount of time. My preference in this cave is to only have a gas mask on. I always carry a spare, and the rest of the time I just go with no armor on or carry some med brews if I take damage. The reason for this is that the arthropleura in this cave can easily break and damage your armor. But if you're only just wearing a gas mask, their spit doesn't break it. If you're wearing any other armor, they will break it. Watch your frog's health here because it can easily get overwhelmed. As you can see here, my health is pretty low, so I'm going to head back out. Take some breaks and force feed your frog some meat to get its health back up, and then dip further into the cave. So you can see here that we are about a third of the way into this cave, and if we check our frog's inventory, almost 6,000 paste, as well as a whole bunch of chitin that we can use along with stone to make paste back at base. Just keep in mind that the server I'm playing on does have some custom stack sizes, but even on official you can get thousands of cementing paste here. If you are a new player looking to get a bunch of cementing paste, one of the easiest ways to do this is to harvest beaver dams. Access the inventory, throw out the wood and grab everything else you will need from there, and quickly get out before the beavers get angry. The next resource you are going to need is obsidian, and a lot of it, so I recommend heading to the volcano, which is in the middle of the map, getting an Ankylosaurus and using it to harvest the obsidian. The Anky doesn't have a weight reduction for the obsidian, so I recommend bringing along an RG because that does have a weight reduction. That way you can harvest more and bring it back to your base. Once you get back to base, put all of the cementing paste and the obsidian into your fabricator. After you turn on the fabricator, you'll find the polymer under the composites folder, and then you can craft all of the polymer. Here we're able to do a huge amount because we have so much CP and obsidian. Crafted polymer will never expire and you'll always have it around at base if you need it. That is all the pro tips I have for you for polymer harvesting on the island for Survival Ascended. If you are a new player, I hope you found this helpful. If you're an old player, I hope you learned something new. If you did, subscribe to the channel for more awesome guides just like this, or click this one right here.